Hey there everyone, it's Jen at Wakeland with Remarkably Created, and this is a follow-up video to the video that I did this morning, which you can still find up under the Reels tab or simply by scrolling down. And what we're going to be talking about and taking a closer look at is Stampin' Up's new packaging. For those of you taking advantage of the amazing join offer where you can get $125 in product for just $35, some of you are already selecting new sneak peek product that is coming in this new packaging. For those of you that will simply just be shopping as customers in November, this is how all of our stamps and dies will be coming. A little bit on the change: it unifies the size and the shape of packaging, and in addition, this uniformity of packaging exists now because Stampin' Up will be phasing out red rubber stamps. Stamps that are currently offered in red rubber will continue to until they're discontinued, no longer available, but all new stamps will be our clear photopolymer. This is due to the challenges of sourcing red rubber. The difficulties are just increasing, and Stampin' Up wanted to be more in control of having supplies in the house to make us high quality, exclusive designed stamps. So go up and see that first video this morning where I talk a little bit about storing them on your shelves, kind of how you might want to deal with them and some of the benefits that way. So currently this is how Stampin' Up stamps come in these clear stamp cases. They have a spine on them, image on the spine, image here, okay? And it does snap to open. These cases remain available for purchase. They are 4 a pack, okay? So for those of you who want to convert any of the new product to this style, you'll definitely be able to buy these stamp cases. In addition, a lot of us use these stamp cases for really fun storage ideas, so these will continue to be available for you as a case. Showing you the difference in size, this is currently the Stamp Cut and Emboss dies. The new one obviously is much longer. This is basically a little over, like, I think 5 5/8 of an inch by 9 inches, so definitely much taller. The other thing to note is that this here has kind of this little pointy piece of the way that you kind of pull it in and make it work. The new Stamp Cut and Emboss dies have this nice deep tongue that goes into the package so easily, okay? So answering some questions that I personally had and others had. First and foremost, when you see them, the stamp sets are labeled Swirl Designs Photopolymer Stamp Set with an image of all of the stamps. The dies are labeled Stamp Cut and Emboss dies, and then the name is a little smaller. At first I was like, oh, I want the name of the dies to be even bigger, but this marketing, the way that this is worded, that part is very much the same as what you're used to on your dies, okay? And so you're going to have that coordination there. So for one of the first questions and one of the first things that was asked was, can you combine the dies and actually I'm going to just take the piece of paper into one. There is plenty of room to have your stamps and your dies in one package. That frees this up for you to do some organization for those of you who may want to convert some of your stamps in the cases, some of your dies to the larger size. So yes, you can put them both in one container if you want to, okay? So for me personally, one of the things that I do is I do not keep my stamps and my dies together. So one of the things that I like to do is I take my insert out and I pull this part out and I flip it around, and then I go ahead and I just simply take, what I usually do is do something like this, okay, where you've got that insert, so I just flipped it around, and then I've had to print a label, okay, that tells me what it is. Because of the depth of the cardboard here, now I'm not going to have to do that. Put this behind the die. So here's all of my dies, Stamp Cut and Emboss dies. and I'll have that here. I can still put a label on it if I want to, okay? If I need to want to see the name or anything like that. So lots of different options. Another question that came up was about using magnets. Again, I personally don't put a magnet in each one of my die packs. I don't go to that expense. Instead, what I do is I have a magnetic sheet. Actually, I have several of them that I keep by my Stamp Cut and Emboss. When I'm working with dies, I just simply put them on that generic magnetic sheet, and then I can pull my dies off and put them away. But if you are someone who does like to work with a magnetic sheet, you are most definitely going to have that ability. That's 2 dies there of cutting a magnetic sheet. There's lots of magnetic sheet options on Amazon. Lots of price points, guys, to pick from. So you are definitely going to be able to have that option of having your dies on a magnetic sheet if you want to. And in addition, the magnetic sheet that I use is thin enough that you will see that the stamps actually fit right back inside as well. So I can have a magnetic sheet with my dies, and I can have my stamps all in one case for those of you who really want to minimize your storage. Again, that's not how I store mine. I talked about that in the first one, but I'm trying to address all possible scenarios of how some of you store your products, don't store your products. The biggest challenge for all of us as crafters is when companies that we know and love change their packaging, change something about the product that we know and love. Because there is no one way to meet everyone's system and everyone's style. Me personally, I do not keep my retired products. As soon as I'm able to sell them based on policy, I've got them listed and I'm trying to sell them. So I will not be converting all of my old stamps to the new system. I will simply let them run their course. I did share this tray here, and this literally is a replica of how I do my dies. I keep all my dies in a clear plastic container right by my Stamp Cut and Emboss. And I find that by being able to flip through them like this, I can look for circles and squares and tags and flowers and leaves that I might not normally pick if I have to go find one in a catalog or in a printed publication and then find the name of the stamp set and go find it. So I get a lot more use out of my stamps, my dies rather, by keeping them in a system just like this right beside my Stamp Cut and Emboss. Because I'm used to this system of literally flipping through and looking at the dies, flipping through and looking at the images of the stamps is not going to be a big change for me, okay? So I'm going to be able to simply look. Now I do alphabetize my dies, ignore these. These are not. This is brand new product coming, kind of giving you a little sneak peek. But I do alphabetize my dies. Excuse me. Well, I alphabetize my dies and I also alphabetize my stamps. So if I'm not just being creative and trying to figure out, I knew we had this kind of flower somewhere and I'm not just fishing through them, I can also look for something specifically by its name because it's alphabetized. I try to keep things extremely simple here in my craft studio. So let's count here real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Okay, so I've got 31. If I'm going to totally stand these up, I have room easily for 10 more. So in a space that is just about this long and this wide, I have 40 stamp sets. The extra space on my shelf is going to be amazing. I like to take product with me when I'm traveling, when I'm visiting family and stuff, so that I can craft and create in the hotel rooms at night. Or like my dad, being a senior, tends to sleep a lot more. And so that gives me something that I can be doing while he's sleeping, also going to crops and retreats and stuff. So I'm going to be able to definitely pack a lot lighter. My car is no longer going to look like a clown car if I go to a retreat or a crop. So again, lots of easy storage that way for you. Something else about the images is with the stamp sets, we're used to having a piece of paper on the inside that has the images of the stamps. Instead, you're going to have your images here. You're going to be able to take your stamps and you're going to be able to just put them in here on the outside very quickly and very easily, as opposed to storing them on the inside. I can still see what they say. I can still thumb through them, but you're going to be able to put them on here very easily. Slide it back into its storage bag. And again, as I'm thumbing through, I can read them, I can see them, and I'm good to go. Quick note, total side tip, nothing to do with any of this. Those stamps are on a sheet of acetate. I save these for my shaker cards, window cards, things like this. I don't throw a good piece of acetate away. So those are there for you. And then one other thing I want to address, I got several comments during the day about Stampin' Up! Decreasing the prices because they've switched their packaging. Yes, all of us would love to see prices of all of our beloved craft supplies be decreased. The reality is the prices are not going up. And Stampin' Up! Has absorbed every shipping cost that has come their way that they could have passed on to us for the last couple of years. And so I personally am thankful that the costs are stable, that we're not seeing a change in the cost, that shipping is staying stable. So I just kind of want to manage expectations just a little bit, because it's easy with change to find every little thing to nitpick and then to make yourself a little more miserable and a little bit more upset with that change. We all struggle with change in one way or another. Find that some of us will embrace it a little bit quicker. I find I embrace it a little bit quicker the sooner I find a solution. And so that was a reason for me ordering this new product, getting my hands on it, so I could actually see how I was going to incorporate it as we transition over until I'm eventually rid of all of this style stamp set. And for me, I do have a bit of a blessing in that I've been a demonstrator for almost 30 years, and this is not my first packaging change. So I can remember clamshell boxes, I can remember stamps that were in weird, they were weird foam stamps and weird packaging. So I have found that over time I've been able to adapt, and a lot of times it's that desire to adapt. And I still love crafting. The quality of the products hasn't changed. And so I think that once you find a solution that works for you, you're going to see that this packaging makes sense for the changes that are occurring within Stampin' Up! So that we can continue to be at the forefront of the crafting industry. So any questions at all, I'm always open to them. If you're looking to problem solve a little bit more, just let me know. I do not have a source for the magnetic sheets. Just simply put magnetic sheets into Amazon. You'll find all kinds, but I prefer a little thinner one as long as it holds the dies. I'm happy with that. So I like one that doesn't have a lot of weight to it. I personally, as I mentioned, don't use one in every single case. I'd rather spend my money buying new products than buying magnetic sheets and things like that. So I keep it real simple. I will link this clear case here. I did purchase 6 of them in anticipation of transitioning down the road, and I didn't want my cases to be all different sizes. But wow, 6 times 40, I can hold 240 stamp sets, guys. So kind of excited about that. But again, I'd love to help you problem solve. I'd love to answer your questions. New packaging again, 5 5/8 by 9 inches. As demonstrators, you can buy a pack of 10 of these now. Customers will have access to all the new style packaging on November 4th, as well as just empty ones of these as well. And of course, you can get the new style packaging now if you're ordering any of the sneak peeks that you saw in a starter kit. So thanks, guys.